Hi, welcome to Seaside Quilting Tutorials. Today's not a tutorial. Today we are doing open box day. Fun, right? Because I want you to see what it's like when you receive fabric from Seaside Quilting Supplies. And it's a spectacular day. My box came in last night. I didn't have time to open it. We've been having some remodeling going on, and I have a dog who has a fractured tooth, and we've had her in a cone because she scratched her face up. That's how we found out that she had a fractured tooth that needs to be removed, and so I have to keep an eye on her, and there's just been a lot going on. So I didn't get to open my box yesterday, so I'm going to open it with you today. So let me just adjust my camera a little bit so you'll be able to see what I'm opening up. Okay, so here we are in my sewing room. We're at my cutting table. And we're going to open up the box. Honestly, to tell you the truth, a lot of times when my boxes come in, I don't even know myself what's inside because I can't remember what I ordered. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today, I had so much going on, I don't remember what is supposed to be in the box. But there's always a receipt in there. And there's always a downloadable PDF receipt, so we always know. Here's my receipt, so I always know what I should be getting. Well, there's a bunch in here. So first off, oh, it's heavy. I don't know how she got it all in here. This is one of my smaller boxes, actually. But first of all, it's in this heavy plastic that was in the box, which is always nice because if some conundrum happens during shipment, we've never had a problem so far with anyone having a problem with their fabric. Their fabric still has been intact, and that's because of the wonderful packaging that they do. I always have to remember not to get too excited because I don't want to cut my fabric while I'm opening this up. Well, and just so you know, that's not the only packaging that they do. So it's in this heavy plastic. And then when we take it out, it's always wrapped in paper as well. Terrible, I'm going to rip it all apart, but I wanted you to see that even stamp, they put a little stamp, well, not a little one, but a stamp on their paper. And it comes neatly folded and tied up with cute little ties. Sometimes they use small strips of fabric to tie your fabric up with. Sometimes it's this jute that they use to tie it up. And I'm a little crazy. I save these because they can be used in other projects. Why buy my own jute when they send me some each time I get a package? Let me just throw that box away. So usually what I do is I'll go through and I'll check my fabric with my receipt just to make sure that I have everything, but I've rarely ever had a problem. Once in a great while, they'll forget something, but they have great customer service. I just contact them, I let them know what's going on, and they always take care of it right away. So I'm never worried about my fabric. I don't even measure my fabric anymore since I first started with them because they always cut their fabric a little wider than what you ordered. So if you order a yard, you usually get a couple of inches more than what you ordered. So I'm never worried about the size of the fabric, so I don't even bother with that. So let's take a see at what I actually have here. Okay, I believe this is, okay, this is one of the Toscana blue fabrics that they had. It's going to be a beautiful blender. I use a lot of blenders. I love blenders. Matter of fact, I love blenders so much that now it's hard for me to even use a solid fabric. I do once in a while if I need to set something off, like a floral or a seascape or something like that. But it's gotten hard for me to use solids because the blenders are so gorgeous. So this is the other blue. I gotta remember to check these off as I'm going. They do little check marks, and then I do my little check marks, and then I throw my receipt away because I don't want to remember it. I just want to remember my beautiful fabric. And this is the darker blue from Toscana. It's just really, really beautiful. And it's Toscana. I think that one was Got the Blues. I think this is the Patriotic Blue, and they are made by Northcott. Beautiful, beautiful fabrics. I'll show you the two blues together. My lighting's not great down here, but you can, I gotta get a light ring is what I need to do because my lighting is horrible down here, even with my large lights. Let me see if I can move those just a little closer so I can get a little more light on the situation. Brandy. Okay, I just had to check, make sure she's not scratching. She's cleaning her feet. She needs a little time each day to clean her paws or she gets upset. I think that helped a little bit with the light. And so you have the darker blue and the lighter blue. I love blues. And then I have the Toscana Ebony. And this is a really nice black for me. I'm very, very touchy about what blacks I use. I don't like I don't like a black that looks more brownish or grayish. Very rarely will I ever use those in my projects. It's just my own preference. I like a black. I use a lot of blacks in my quilts, whether it be for the binding or to make something pop. I really love blacks, and I like a true black. This is modeled. There's some modeling in the fabric. I think as I get it closer, it looks a little greener when you get it closer to the camera, I think. Or maybe a little grayer, but it's not. This is a true black. It's really nice. I'm excited about it because I'm getting low on my black fabric. I was getting low. I think I have some of Mary's DNA. I'm pretty sure that was some of Mary's DNA. Okay, so let me check off my ebony. And then we have the vanilla. And I was really low on whites. I've kind of caught up on my white fabrics. Now I got to catch up on cream. And so this is a nice addition. These are all modeled. Well, I call them modeled fabrics. Kind of almost a grungy look, but not a bad grungy look. Very nice fabric by Northcott. I'm really liking it. This one's the Toscana Vanilla by Northcott. It's a beautiful fabric. I'm really going to enjoy using this. I'm sorry that my lighting isn't better. Let me see, maybe if I turn my camera a little bit like that. Okay, let me check off the vanilla. Oop. I believe this to be the Anthology Batiks Bahama. I love batiks. I've become very attached to batiks, and I'm really, really loving this color. It's a great teal. It's not showing up. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. It's a beautiful, beautiful fabric. I'm really excited. I've been using some of my, a small portion, mind you, of my teals in the 2023 Seaside Quilt along with a small, very tiny portion of my blues for the secondary quilt that I've been showing you. So that will help replenish. Let me see. This is the Elizabeth Studios Peas fabric. Now I have I have one of those AccuQuilt cutters, and one of the dies that I have is of a canning jar, and you don't really need the die. There are patterns for the canning jar block out there, but my husband bought it for me for Christmas, and well, you know, so yeah, that's another money sink for me. But this is what I wanted this fabric for. Is my neighbor, she grows a garden, her and her husband, every year, and they share all the crops with all the neighbors. Wonderful people. So the last 2 years I've been making her harvest aprons, which I did a tutorial on last year. You can find it listed in with our many tutorials that we have on YouTube here. And this will be beautiful to put in one of the canning jars. I've been slowly collecting fabrics for the canning jars. So I have the peas. And let me see. Last time I got the peppers. I just want to show you this because this is so beautiful. Isn't that pretty? I love that this is all colored peppers because that's what I eat. And that's also what they grow for us. So this will be another nice one for the canning jars. I'm so excited about it. And then, you know, I'm going to need a border for the canning jars. Table topper. I'm not going to actually make them a quilt. I'm going to make her a table topper because I've been in her house several times, and I know that her living room isn't really set up that she would use a quilt like this in the living room. So I was going to make her a table topper for her front bay window in her kitchen where her table is. So I thought she'd really like this. And this has the regular green peppers, the eggplant, the red onions, radishes, tomatoes, carrots, corn, cabbage, broccoli, and continues on. And it's so vibrant, so pretty. I know that she will love this. During the summer, she does a lot of, we do a lot of fire pit nights and food gatherings. So I'm going to make her a nice long table topper. And so when she puts out her tables outside, this would look lovely on there, and I know that she'll just adore it. So there's that. And those are by, this one is by Timeless Treasures and Elizabeth Studios for the peas. Beautiful fabrics. And I just love the feel of these fabrics. So let me tell you a small story. Because you know me, I regress whenever I'm teaching and showing things. Back years ago, I felt that there was no difference in fabric other than that small shops were trying to overcharge you for their quilt fabrics, and they were trying to make up for the rent that they pay and blah, 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 because they're a tiny store. And what else can they do, a small retailer, but to mark up their products to pay for the costs? That was my thought. And part of it is true. It's not a lie. Smaller places do sometimes have to charge a little more because they're trying to cover their rent, their employees, and so forth. But let me tell you something. There is a difference in fabric. There is a big, big difference in fabric. And I'm not going to lie. I still have a little bit of Joann's fabric. Last year I gave away, donated 4 boxes of fabric that was old. Some was very old, very thin fabric. It didn't go with the fabric that I use now because it was too thin in comparison. The weave is not as tight. You could hold it up, you could see through the fabric. It doesn't hold up, it doesn't last a long time. In a quilt, it's fine for a small project, a wall hanging or something like that, but it's not good quality fabric. And so, I was so stubborn. I was using the $1, $2 thread that you get in department stores. I just, I didn't know a lot, because back when I first started quilting I was cutting my stuff out with scissors. I didn't even know about rotary cutters or mats and all this other stuff. I lived way out in the country. There was no one that I knew that did quilting. And I was basically learning mostly on my own from books and so forth. Well, a few years ago, I was working for Husqvarna Viking, and my boss, who is a true friend, gave me a gift certificate for my birthday to a quilt store and told me that she wanted me to buy some fabric that I would enjoy. Of course, she knew I may spend it on rulers because I like to quilt, but she was encouraging fabric. So because she had given it to me and I knew why, I did make sure to buy 3 yards of fabric while I was there, and I had enough left over and added a little bit to it so I could buy the ruler that I wanted, because yes, I can't leave the quilt stores without rulers. That's when I found the difference. When I sewed with that fabric to make a wall hanging, the feel of it, the touch of it in your hands, holding it up in the light, comparing the two fabrics, your Walmart and your Joann's fabric, I understand, is often, especially when you have a coupon, more affordable. And if you're a beginner, it's great beginner fabric to start learning on. To find out, is this where I want to be? Is this what I enjoy doing, before you spend a lot of money? I get that. But until you actually use some quality fabric and see the difference in texture and feeling, and once you've made a quilt, how much longer it lasts. The cheaper fabrics, they pill, they split apart, the fibers are not as good, you get holes in them, because I use my quilts. I so far have not had that problem with good quality fabric. Anywho, that's me, that's my story. Now, let me see, what is this one? Okay, I believe this is one of my ends of bolts. Yes, it is. And the nice thing is when they do the ends of bolts, they'll put a little tag on here so that you can go to your receipt and you can see 1P. This is 1P from the ends of bolts. They did an ends of bolts sale in our private group. We have a private group called Seaside Quilting on Facebook. They also have their main business page, which is Seaside Quilting Supplies, LLC. Please feel free to come along, join in our group. We share tutorials, we share, now unboxing. They've done some unboxing from the shop when big boxes come in of fabric. There's special sales. There's a lot of knowledgeable people. There are people in there from beginner, I've never sewn before, all the way up to people who have owned their own shops or who have taught other people how to quilt. So there's a lot of knowledge in there. We love to share our projects with each other. We have actually it's a block of the week instead of a block of the month for 12 weeks. It's going on. Tomorrow will be week 5. So that's wonderful. Okay. So this is my Enza bolt. It's really beautiful. It's a gorgeous batik. It's kind of a burgundy, winey type color. And this is by P&B Textiles. Beautiful fabric. And I don't have many fabrics of this color. So one of the things I do is I make a list of colors that I don't have enough of, that I'm low on. So I can try my best to centralize what I'm buying. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I get lucky and it does. Depends on what my mind's wanting to do that day. This is another one of the Enza bolts that I purchased. And with the Enza bolts, they're exactly what they say. They're the end of the bolt. Whatever's there is what gets sold in one piece. Okay, this is a Henry Glass fabric. Oh yes, this is the Little Love Farm from that. And I like that it has the little bit of floral on it. It's very dainty, very quaint, not overtaking. I'm not one of those people that, I rarely like huge flowers unless I'm going to use them in a border. It's just the way I am. I don't particularly care for them. I know there's a tag on there somewhere. I'll find it after. So a while back, they had this Measure Twice series that came out. I've got a lot of it. A lot of it. I bought a lot. I haven't made anything with it yet. But anyways, I knew I hadn't bought the striped border. So this was on Enza bolts, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to grab that before I lose my chance on it, just in case I decide that I would like it. Yeah, that's how I think. But I will use it eventually. I'm thinking of making covers like for my sewing machines, because the way that they're set up in a table, and one on top, my embroidery machine on top of a table with its embroidery bed on it, the covers don't fit on them as well. So I was thinking, so that they're not always getting dusty, which happens a lot here, that I would make some covers. And I think this would be a nice edging for the covers. I think I had that upside down when I was showing it to you, mind you. But I really like it, and I do have a lot of the fabrics, so that'll be a nice addition for the house. I don't do a lot with stripes, I'll be honest. I'm not a stripe or a plaid person. I like them. I love seeing other people use them in quilts, but I get frustrated with them, because if my lines go crooked or whatever, well, you know, things can happen in the sewing world. But I'm going to use a little bit of this for a Christmas project that I have in mind, and I think that this would be very nice in it. It's a lighter, limey type green. The stripes are really nice in it. Let me see, get that a little bit closer. Very nice stripes in it. So we'll see how Terri does with stripes. I haven't done stripes in a long time. So I just said I don't normally use big flowers, but this is a beautiful piece, and I have some of the coordinates that go with this. And there's just enough of it that I'm thinking what I will do with this is use this as a centerpiece in a wall hanging. I quite often will take fabrics that have a nice look to them, but I wouldn't use them. Like I could not get myself to cut this up into small pieces because I don't feel like the blooms will show up. So what I'll do is I'll cut this at a size that I can use a large portion of it for the center of a wall hanging or a table runner, and then I'll use blocks on each end and borders to make a nice quilt. And I'll show you the other side. As you can see, there's some beautiful blooms on here and dragonfly. Isn't that so cute? And I love dragonflies. And so I think this will be a spectacular piece. I didn't want a large amount of it, so getting it as an end of bolt was perfect for me. Because this is about the size that I would need to do what I'm thinking, and I don't need more than that. So that's perfect. This is from an older line that we were carrying, Vintage Farmhouse. We might still have some Vintage Farmhouse, I'm not sure. But this was one of the ends of bolts that they had. So with that canning jar project that I was telling you about, I have a different one that I want to do, where I want to do blocks that have the canning jar but without the lid, and have flowers coming out of the canning jar. And I was thinking hydrangeas would just be perfect for that. And this will be just enough of that fabric for me to cut these out and applique them on. That's my thought. We'll see what happens. I'm always a see what happens person. Sometimes I know exactly what I want. Sometimes it's just a matter of seeing how this works out as an applique. I'm kind of newish at applique. I've done applique before a few times, but I still consider myself a little bit newish at it. So, yeah. This is from the Modern Love series. Like I said, I'm not one of those people that likes a lot of big prints. Because I always struggle in my mind about cutting them up. But I do have a couple of lovely pieces from the Modern Love. Actually, I think I've gotten most every piece from Ends of Bolts because I didn't want a lot of it, but I do like the colors in the Modern Love fabric. Some pieces were just too big for me. I think they were peonies or something. Not peonies, puppies. I think they were puppy. I could be wrong. Anyhow, don't judge me on that. I might be wrong. I sometimes forget. Things go by. But I think this is a lovely purple piece. Even if I don't use it with the other fabrics, it's a purple that I rarely am able to find, which is this dark, really grapey purple. And a lot of times I struggle with finding pieces of that coloring to use in my quilts. So that'll be a nice piece for something like that. I think this was an Ends of Bolts piece as well. Let me see if it tells me what it is. Oh, this is another P&B Textiles, like that burgundy one that I just showed you. And in fact, I think this will go... Ooh, this looks pretty with that burgundy. Check that out. Those go really nice together. Oh, yeah. I love the coloring of the P&B Textiles. It's got a little bit of brighter pink in it with the softer pink softening the fabric. A little bit closer to the camera. It's just a gorgeous fabric. And I love to just handle and feel my fabrics. They're so fun. So much fun. And those of you that know me know that this is my favorite panel. The fire is not necessarily my favorite color out of them, but it's hard for me to say which one is my favorite because I love the Aurora, I love the Tide Pool, I love the Hydrangea, I love the Atlantic, which is the blue. I really love the blue. But this is the Dream Big panel in fire. I've done one of these before. I only ever bought one, I think, before. Maybe two, I can't remember for sure. But I know for sure I did one for my daughter. And I posted in the group yesterday or the day before pictures of that one. Every single one that I quilt is different. An individual. I've never done two the same. I never look at my previous pictures when I go to quilt one because I want them to always be, even though the prints are the same, the colors are different, but of each one that I do, but I want them to be individual for the person that I'm giving them to. So I never want to copy something that I've already done. That isn't to say that some leaves won't be the same as maybe some other leaves that I've done or whatever, but the whole theme of it overall will be entirely different from someone else's. So no one that knows me has ever gotten a duplicate of someone else, even if they've gotten the same color as someone else. It's just one of my things that I do, and I stick with it. So this is just one allotment of my fabric from 1 week. I still haven't completely unpacked last week's, I think it was last week's box. But I'm not gonna go over that today for the unboxings. Maybe I'll unveil that one another day because it's gonna take me a little while to unbox it. I've been so busy. But when I do get my fabrics, now I used to use comic boards. Sorry about the shake. I used to use comic boards for folding my fabric. I even used some of that, those, I can't remember what you call them, but they're like plastic boards that you can, I think they're like a thick poster board, corrugated board or something like that they're called. And I used to use those, but they just take up extra space and it's extra money that gets spent on something that I don't want to spend it on. Because those comic boards eventually get bent and used up, and you reuse them, and they aren't as good anymore. So this is what I do, okay? So your fabric is like this when it comes off the bolt, right? One long piece. It's already folded in half when you get it. You have your selvages at one end and you fold it the other. So I just take it and I fold it over one more time. Now most bookshelves, not all, but most bookshelves, or at least the ones that I have approximately 12.5 to 13 inches space between the shelves for books, which is great for fabric. So now that I have it folded, I take my I think this is 6.5 inch ruler. You can use a 6-inch one. You can use whatever size you want, really. However wide you're going to want these to be. But this is a nice width for a bookshelf. And this is just my long ruler that I use at my table. So I just take it, I lay it down. Let me see. Get you a little bit closer here. So I lay it down and I'm gonna fold over the end part of the fabric, okay? I make sure that it's nice and smooth. I pull it over. It depends on how big of a piece I'm folding, but since this is a longer piece, I'm gonna give it a nice big fold. And then I'm carefully gonna fold this over. The first fold is a little tricky because you wanna make sure that those don't wrinkle, or at least me, I don't want them to wrinkle. And I don't press my fabric before I put it away because it's going to get these fold wrinkles in it anyway. So I press it as I need it. So now I just check. I feel underneath here, it's not wrinkled. I can feel from up here, it's not wrinkled. So now I'm fine. I'm just going to keep folding my ruler over my fabric until I get to the end. Now sometimes at the end, I can't really fold that over unless I put pins in it, and I do not like to put pins in my fabric. Years ago, I would just flip this over and I put a couple pins. One time, one of my fabrics was on my shelf for so long, and these were the older kind of pins. The newer kind of pins don't tend to rust, but anyways, these older pins, they rusted in my fabric and ruined not just the top fabric and the fabric here that it was going through, but some of the fabric. So as you unfolded it, you kept finding that rust in the fabric. So I had to cut it up into squares to use it. So I just do a little fold here at the end and then flip it over. Then I just flip this over and I pull my ruler out. Now I have a perfectly folded piece of fabric to go on my shelf. And these stack on my shelf just like this, side by side. Of course, when you're first doing a shelf, you have to stack quite a few of these so they don't tip over on you when you're putting them on the shelf. So before I end, I'm going to show you. Okay, so I had to go back and I had to fix my camera because when I tried to film it using the front of my camera, it kept flipping it in different directions, and thank God I took a look and rewatched my video, or I wouldn't have known that it had happened. I might post the blooper at some point in time just to make you laugh, but it had me sideways, it had me upside down, and then the other direction, and then back upside down, and it was just hilarious. But I'm redoing it because otherwise I will make some people very nauseous. So anyways, I was trying to show you a little behind the scenes at my place. I'm up in Northern Virginia, Seaside itself. That's been in business for over 18 years now. Out of their own home. It's a beautiful quilt shop down there with quality fabrics and whatnot. And she's down in more central Virginia. I'm up in Northern Virginia, more towards DC. Brandy, stop. So that's my puppy dog that I think she wants to be in the video. Poor dog. I'm not going to show you too much because her whole face. Anywho, so coming down my stairs from upstairs, this is my sewing room. This is basically what I see. That was a cute little bag from Seaside. I think it was last year. I can't remember for sure, or the year before. I don't remember. But anyways, and I have my, I haven't decorated my wall yet. I'm working on a wall hanging, which I'm going to end up showing to you in a different video because of how it came about. That's going to hang up in that center there, my little warning sewing thing. It says Sassy's room because most people online know me as Sassy. You've seen this quilt before. It's from one of the 3-yard quilt books that I did a tutorial on and was hung up at Seaside. Sorry, my brain's all over the place. And I'm going to quilt it and hang it up on one of my walls. It's one of my next projects that I'm going to do. I'm trying to get a little further into my feathering class before I quilt it because I want to use some fancy feathers on there. Well, that's my hope. And then I found this cute little doodad on Amazon. I think it was Amazon. Maybe, I don't know. Some for sale place online. And it was just cute and adorable, so I got it from my room. My daughter's teddy bears from when she was little hangs out in the corner. So this poor girl, sorry about the cat litter, when we moved here, they lost the legs for my girl to stand up in my room. So I went and I got this old looking milk can, and the other day, and I put cement in there and propped her up and everything, and it was the quick kind. And so she's permanent in there. She's never coming out, or at least I don't think she'll ever come out. But the other day, I was cleaning out my back room, which is my craft storage room, paints and all that kind of stuff. Furnace, everything's in there. But anyways, I saw these flowers sitting over in the corner, and I was like, oh, let's put them in here. So anyways, as you come down into my room, there's the kitty bed. And I have this cabinet with fabric. That's my embroidery thread and doodad rack. Cat bed again. So this is how I was showing you that I fold my fabric and I put it up here. Mary sent me that last year. Isn't that cute? Don't tell Barb. That's what it says in it too. It says, don't tell Barb. So I have my button collection from Seaside. Aren't they pretty? And I try to put them near colors that they go with, just because I think they look cute. And I got a whole bunch of them. And this is one of the, that's the thread holder that I got from Seaside. I'm sure some of our customers from last year and whatnot will remember those. Spectacular, I love it. So that's how I keep that shelf. And I like I said, I like my buttons near the fabrics that they go with. Sometimes they get shifted around. But that's how I keep them folded and organized. Now, I like to keep some fabrics just hanging out in my room. Now, I know that you're going to think this is because Terry doesn't know where to put the fabric. That's part of it, because I ran out of room. So the other day I set one up on one corner and I thought, oh, that's so cute and inspirational. So this is a mess. I'll show you my mess. I haven't cleaned it up yet. And some of these fabrics have been sitting like this since last year. So I'm not totally organized. I do need to fold them and put them away, but I had run out of room. I need more shelves. So again, that's how I fold them and I stack them up. And I have a drawer. This is one of my thread drawers. Pretty sure all that came from, or primarily came from Seaside. Trying not to move too fast. Oh, my tissues, you don't want to see those. But my TV viewing area, and I think that's a Saunders shelf system that I got on Amazon. They have them in the white, and I'm showing you the other one. I didn't see them in the white in the beginning, or they both would have been white, or maybe it was out of stock, the other one. So when we first moved here, I needed shelves. I left a lot behind because I didn't want to spend any more money moving stuff than I already was. And so I bought these, and I'll show you the other one in just a moment. But they're lovely for holding fabric, and I use those plastic, what do you call them, shoe boxes, to store like fat quarters, sometimes even a whole project. This is my dog's lounger. Yes, it is. I would call it mine, but it's really not. And it's a little messy because I got stuff thrown on top of it. Sorry. I'm trying to move slow. So then when I come into the room, this is my AccuQuilt little center. It's a mess. I get everything thrown on top of it. My embroidery machine with its thread. And I have these Alex drawers from IKEA, which I love. And look how messy that is, because I get busy and yeah, it's just a mess. I have no excuse. But that's one of my thread drawers. Aurifil thread, and primarily Aurifil thread. I think there was a cheap thread in there. I need to throw that out. Okay, and this is my project drawer. This is the one, whatever project I'm working on. So this is all the fabrics from the 2023 tutorial that I'm doing. That way I know where they all are. And oh, looky. Yeah, that's my mesh and some more embroidery thread, embroidery stuff. Look at that cork. Oh, can't show you that. That's my medication that I have to take. But yeah, I have drawers individually all set up and organized for some theme that the drawer is about. One of those handy dandy little cards. I thought it'd be cute to have it in pink. And then, oh, look at that. I got animal crackers and kitty treats both together. I don't know what that tells you about me. But this is my sewing section here. And I keep pizza boxes, believe it or not, that are clean. Once in a great while, they'll send me like all the little packets of stuff that they want to send you, and they put them in a box, and so the box is super clean. I save those to put blocks in that are that size or smaller, and I'll write a theme of whatever, and they're tester blocks for me. So if I'm gonna make something and I'm not sure if I like you'll look at the fabrics, they look beautiful together, but then you make a block and then you're like, I'm not sure I like those together. That happens. Well, those tester blocks end up in boxes like that. And then eventually I will make something out of them. So this was a dream come true for me. Well, besides my machines, of course. But I worked for Husqvarna and Viking for quite a while. And so I bought my machines. And this is one of those kangaroo sewing tables. That was a dream come true. My last paycheck from work, I put it away, or last couple of paychecks, I put away. So when I got here, I would be able to order my sewing table. So that was a big dream come true. And if I hadn't worked for Viking, that dream probably wouldn't have come true. But anyhow, and my serger, one of my lighting systems that I use when I'm filming, because without it, it's too dark, and I don't think that you would see things as well. So I have that there to help out one of my projects that I showed you before. I finally this year did hang up one of those tablecloths that has, I think it's a felt backing or something or other, and they work. It's amazing. So now I have a quilt wall. I did take some of the blocks down because I need to hang it in a different area that I can reach, because to get that chair out and to get a footstool in there is a real pain. It's a big job. So I'm going to move that over behind my, probably over here, probably on that wall, so that I can leave a footstool there and I can get up to put my blocks up. And I'm going to be showing you that later. Oh, I'm going to make you dizzy. I'm sorry. I have an exercise machine, believe it or not. Right now, it's holding my homework. Shh, don't tell anybody. These are those drapes that I made out of the backing fabric that I showed pictures of a while ago. In my backyard. This is the other Saunders, I believe it's Saunders, shelves from Amazon as well, and I like this one. This is a cube type. I painted those little cubes, the fabric cubes. I sometimes do painting, not as much now because I'm quilting. But yeah, this is really great for holding fabric as well. So I have, well, I had them themed by color, but there's different, you know, ways to organize in here. I have all kinds of stuff, ones with ribbons and blah blah blah, and but mostly fabric has taken over. was my coffee. Sorry, I probably spun you too fast and I didn't mean to. So then this is my cutting area, and this is just two TV stands that I got at Goodwill, believe it or not. One was $10. I think this was, I can't remember which one was $10. One was $5, one was $10. They looked kind of junky, but they're almost the same height. They're just a little off from each other. So they worked out perfectly to put them together. And I originally had a plastic table on here. One of those, it's just one of those, the longest folding table that I was able to get. This one is like, I think it's prefab wood of some sort for the top, but it's heavier and has metal legs. I just leave the legs up and laid the table between the two of them, and I got them as far apart as I could. And of course my scrap bin and my garbage are underneath, but I wanted you to see this is how I created my cutting table. So it's 70 something inches, I think 36 inches wide. And I have one of the Martelli mats. It's a nice long mat and they hold up well. They last a long time. So it better last a long time because they're expensive. And I hang some of my junk up on the wall. Although I found that humidity here is a problem, so I'm taking stuff down off the walls because last year I had rulers drop and that wasn't good. This is just another junk cabinet. I keep my iron there beside my ironing table, so it's out of the way but accessible. And my Mr. bottles that I got, I believe from Seaside. Just some junk fabric for making, I'm making some donation baby quilts. It's not junk fabric, but it's older fabric, and I want to deplete it because I don't have children anymore. So I'm going to make up some baby quilts and donate them. But this is another area where I keep fabric and shoe boxes. And then my lovely ironing table. And a light in the corner because the lighting down here is bad. Like I have to run, and I'm not complaining, believe me, because there's nothing to complain about. This was a dream come true. I have lots of space down here. It's a lovely place to be, and I enjoy it. So, you know, everything has its gives and takes, and that's my behind the scenes. This is where I work. This is where I do stuff. I know that you've seen portions when I've been doing different tutorials, but I just thought I'd give you a walk around. It's not perfectly as organized and cleaned as it usually is, but yeah, things have been a little busy lately with the remodeling and stuff, so I'll have to get my room back in order so I can get ready for the next tutorial that I'm going to be doing. So for now, that's it for today. You've had the unboxing. I'll do another one soon. I might even show you the one from last week when I go to unbox it. That might not be for a couple days. I just got a lot of stuff to get done. So anyways, if this is the first time that you're watching one of our videos on Seaside, please click the subscribe button and click that little bell right next to it. We've got a lot going on in our private group, Seaside Quilting, on Facebook. And be sure to check out our sales page on Facebook as well. It's Seaside Quilting Supplies, LLC. Every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a sip and shop where we show fabric for sale, notions, supplies of all sorts, batting, rulers, thread, buttons, so many things, purse equipment, you know, the hardware for the making purses. We have patterns, on and on and on. We don't show every bit of it, of course, every Tuesday, but we show quite a bit. And each week it's a little different. Some weeks we have some thread in there, some weeks some rulers, blah, blah, blah. It changes out each week depending on what's new coming in, what we haven't shown for quite a while, and stuff like that. So that's it for today. I hope that you'll join us, even in our private group. Stop by. There's 3 little questions, agree to the rules, and you're in our group. We have private sales sometimes in there that isn't available to the public. We have a lot of knowledgeable people, as I was speaking about before. We share our ideas. It's a fun group. We have a lot of fun in there. So anyways, until next time, this is Terri from Seaside Quilting, and I'll talk to you again soon. Happy sewing.